We start with a clash over vaccines. California and also other Western states put out their own guidelines as federal health officials overhaul existing policy.
It's hard to imagine this has all been discussed based on evidence and not based on politics.
We'll hear from some local medical experts who say the separate state guidelines are not only welcome, but necessary. Plus, we'll meet a South Bay developer charging full speed ahead after the state rolled back a major regulatory hurdle.
I think the public benefit's simple. It's more housing.
How the changes could jumpstart housing and why environmental advocates are wary. And a broken pipeline forcing all of Benicia to conserve water. We'll check in with neighbors who could have to wait until next week to return to normal.
Cut back as much as you can and we'll be okay.
And later, we'll take you to Treasure Island, where Bay FC broke ground on a brand new training facility aimed specifically for female athletes.
It just allows us to, again, just take care of business on the field and be treated the way we deserve.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. One of the many ways the second Trump administration has upended U.S. policy is in health care, especially when it comes to vaccines. So this week, the CDC is debating a number of new vaccination standards, and California is getting ahead of any changes with its own policies. So just yesterday, the so-called West Coast Health Alliance, which includes California, they released new vaccine guidelines that break from the Trump administration. Our Lauren Tom spoke with local medical professionals about the vaccine clash, creating confusion for families.
What we are seeing, we've never had before.
In a historic break from federal recommendations, California is among several states publishing their own broadened vaccine recommendations after the CDC scaled back its guidelines, recommending this year's COVID shot should only be for seniors and at-risk people. State health officials say that's not enough to keep people safe. The West Coast Health Alliance, which includes California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii, released separate guidance for the upcoming winter. That includes recommending the COVID vaccine for children aged 6 to 23 months, pregnant women, and people in close contact with anyone at risk of severe illness. Dr. Yasko Fukuda says the sudden change in federal guidance and the uncertainty behind it has created confusion for families and doctors.
It's very confusing for my families. You know, I talk to families every single day. What's the best thing we're supposed to do? Oh, my goodness.
A San Francisco-based pediatrician and former president of the local chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, she says the sudden narrowing of federal immunization guidelines is unusual.
We have had a very long-standing process of who are on these different committees to give their input.
California's new recommendations don't stop with COVID. The state is also encouraging flu shots for all ages and RSV shots for infants, pregnant women, and seniors.
We're choosing to trust our Department of Public Health. It's a good short-term solution. I hope it'll stay good in the long term.
UCSF professor of law Dorit Rice warns that the federal changes could limit access nationwide.
One concern is that private insurers, or at least some of them, will stop covering the unrecommended vaccine and people won't have access.
Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law Wednesday which mandates insurers cover the vaccines the state endorses. The break from CDC guidance comes at a time of upheaval for the agency. In sworn testimony on Capitol Hill this week, fired CDC Director Susan Menares says she was pressured by Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to sign off on the committee's recommendations without first considering scientific evidence.
Based on what I observed during my tenure, there is a real risk that recommendations could be made restricting access to vaccines for children and others in need without rigorous scientific review.
It's taking a toll on all of us, time away from other things that we could be doing, and it's a source of frustration.
Dr. Sam Pejam says the debate isn't just about policy. It could put lives at risk, particularly ahead of the winter virus season.
It's hard to imagine this has all been discussed based on evidence and not based on politics. And again, we really should practice medicine based on the evidence that we have and get the politics out of medicine.
The CDC maintains that its scaled back recommendations are meant to focus on those at highest risk, arguing healthy children and adults face less risk of severe illness. But Dr. Fukuda says recommendations should consider the entire population.
If we can have every effort to protect everyone, I think that will be very, very, would be wonderful.
Meantime, after tense debate, the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices voted today to change recommendations for one vaccine. Specifically, the panel voted to not recommend the combined MMRV vaccine for children under 4. The committee is instead recommending children under 4 should get one shot for measles, mumps, and rubella, and then a separate one for chickenpox. The combined shot carries a slightly higher risk of seizures when used as the first dose in young toddlers. But the change prompted some pushback.
But if a parent wants to get a single dose, why are we taking away that option?
This recommendation is going to create more confusion among the public.
Tomorrow, the CDC panel is set to vote on hepatitis B and COVID-19 vaccine recommendations. So we'll be following the latest developments. And if you want to learn more about the new California vaccine guidelines, just head to our website, kpix.com. All right, let's get to a change in your weather. Yeah, that's thanks to a storm system moving up the state. It is a first alert weather day as we track a chance of showers, even thunderstorms in our area. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan with where we're seeing those showers. I kind of need some soup on a shower day, huh?
It might be a little bit too muggy for that, but we're certainly closer to that time of year. First day of fall is on Monday after all, so we're getting there. Let's take a look at the radar replay over the last 12 hours, and the bulk of the moisture has been soaking Southern California. This is where there's been a heightened risk of flash flooding because of the rain falling onto soils that have been cooked by the heat of the past few months and on some of the burn scars in that part of the state as well. But the moisture has struggled to make its way all the way up towards the Bay Area until the past about hour or 90 minutes or so. Let's take a look at the big picture radar replay over the past few hours and check out the lack of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. We do have the lightning icons turned on, but there are just very few of them, which is great news. Some beneficial rain without the cloud-to-ground lightning threat, but there have been a few strikes, including one in Napa County near Lake Berryessa, as these showers are moving from east to west across the North Bay. Some locally heavy downpours and 8 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes are accompanied by that rain, which is some good news. Again, the showers are going to be fairly few and far between as we head through tonight and tomorrow. The Futurecast shows that moisture trying to make its way up closer and closer to us. Keep the umbrella handy just in case, but the showers are going to be intermittent, pretty light, less than 1/10 of an inch of rain if you manage to pick up anything at all. But it's not the only chance of rain that we have in the forecast. Got the full 7-day outlook coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Paul, thanks so much. We're learning people in Benicia may have to cut back on their water use into next week. So right now, crews are repairing damage to the main drinking water pipeline that forced the city to declare a stage 4 critical water shortage. So the damage happened near Goodyear Road and Morrow Lane. That's right next to 680. The cause of the damage has not been revealed, but residents and businesses in the city are being told to reduce their usage by 40%. Officials tell us the emergency order could last until the middle of next week. For now, the city is relying on water from its secondary source, Lake Herman. And back in 2023, a similar order was issued after a hillside collapsed and damaged a pipeline near Interstate 680. The incidents are not connected, but the city relied on Lake Herman for water then too. And one resident we spoke with isn't too thrilled about this.
Everyone knows that Lake Herman is not the best water. If you go take, a stroll down there and see what the water looks like, you can see it firsthand.
The city says crews will work through the weekend to restore water as soon as possible. All right, a live look at our state capitol where the flag is being flown at half-staff to honor a Caltrans worker killed on Highway 4 in Contra Costa County. 39-year-old Madi Coram was hit by an asphalt truck while working in the construction zone on the highway in Martinez. Madi started working with Caltrans in 2023 as a transportation engineer and construction inspector. Governor Newsom called him a dedicated public servant. Flags will fly at half-staff at all Caltrans buildings. He is survived by his wife and 3-year-old child. Just last week, state lawmakers passed Assemblymember Matt Haney's bill to establish a pilot program that would place speed cameras at dozens of construction zones around the state. Haney says the bill is about worker safety, noting there were more than 70 deadly crashes in 2021. The bill is now on the governor's desk. 3 months after San Jose started its large-scale encampment sweeps along the Guadalupe River, leaders say the amount of hikers has more than doubled at the nearby trail. So this is what the trail looked like before the sweeps, and now this is what it looks like just this morning. Mayor Matt Mahan says the sweeps were an effort to reclaim the public space and make it available for everyone.
We have heard from residents who have expressed joy in feeling safe to walk the trail again. We hear the awesome discovery of new visitors when they realize there is a wild river that goes through downtown San Jose.
So the area is also now designated as a no encampment zone. This will allow the city to remove any encampments without a 72-hour notice. California's housing crisis is colliding with one of the state's most powerful environmental laws. A recent change to CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, is actually cutting red tape for some housing projects on underused urban land. But critics warn it opens the door to poorly planned projects. Len Ramirez shows us how this policy is playing out from vacant lots to controversial sites.
This is a project with 65 units being proposed that's going to attach onto the existing condominium project here.
On a vacant lot just off Light Rail in San Jose, on what is now just dirt and weeds, Michael Van Every sees possibilities.
I think the public benefit's simple. It's more housing.
And now, thanks to a recent change to California's Environmental Quality Act, known as CEQA, housing projects like this on infill lots under 20 acres no longer have to go through full environmental review.
It's exactly the type of project that would be categorically exempt and would move forward in a rapid fashion through the new legislation with CEQA.
How much faster?
I'd say probably as fast as anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
CEQA was created in 1970 to protect California's environment from reckless development. But over time, critics say it became a tool used to delay or even block new projects entirely. Supporters of the change say it brings balance and speeds up housing in places where it already makes sense, like underused lots in the middle of cities.
It doesn't have any, critical habitat that would affect wetlands or, any types of species that would be endangered.
In this San Jose neighborhood, one resident said recent homeless encampments show how urgent the need is for more housing.
There is a housing problem. I mean, in my own neighborhood, I see, RVs parked. I think it should be done on a case-by-case basis. I mean, there are some areas that definitely do need to have more review for the environment.
And that's where the tension still lies between the need for housing and the need for environmental safeguards. And because of the major change to CEQA, it's playing out across the state. In Torrance, a developer is pushing forward with a project on land that was once an oil field. The site hasn't been environmentally reviewed under the new CEQA rules.
Looks like it closed around the 1940s, and there's no record that it was ever cleaned up. And the developer said, hey, there's this new law. We don't have to do CEQA review at all.
Richard Drury is an Oakland environmental attorney calling for the project to be reviewed.
We don't want to stop projects through CEQA. We want to make sure that they're built, but that they're built right in a way that protects the environment and human health.
Back in San Jose, Michael's project is not facing environmental challenges. And earlier phases, part of a 3-parcel transit village at Tamian Station, already went through CEQA. Together, they'll bring 450 units of affordable and market-rate housing, all in a stylish, community-focused design.
I think what this does is just brings into balance economic development, clarity and certainty for economic development, while also making sure that we're keeping our environment, in first position.
The CEQA changes may help move projects along, but they don't settle the debate over the building of California's future. And across the state, the questions of speed versus scrutiny remain.
So it's not just housing. CEQA exemptions are also expanded for other community-serving projects like health clinics, blood banks, and daycare centers. All right, still ahead, here at 6, a strange homicide investigation in Hollywood. How the body of a missing teen could be connected to a rising musician set to perform in San Francisco tomorrow night. Plus, a Cupertino Whole Foods location gets the okay to reopen months after it was shut down by a rat infestation. When you can expect to shop there again. And it's an escalating fight in Martinez over some noisy pickleball courts that could see them shut down completely up to 5 days a week. The medical examiner in Los Angeles has identified the body found in the trunk of a car registered to the singer known as David earlier this month. They say she's a 15-year-old girl who disappeared last year. The musician is on tour and set to perform in San Francisco tomorrow night, but a show last night was canceled. Elise Preston has more from L.A.
On Wednesday, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office said the severely decomposed human remains found in the trunk of this Tesla last week belonged to 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. Multiple media reports say the vehicle is registered to singer David Anthony Burke, better known by his stage name, David. Police found Rivas's body inside the Tesla on September 8th after responding to reports of a foul odor at the Hollywood tow yard where the car had been impounded. The Tesla had been towed days earlier from Hollywood Hills, where one neighbor said it had been abandoned for weeks.
It hurts. It hurts.
Friends and neighbors say they're surprised by Rivas's death.
When I met her, she was very lively, just like all giggly.
Rivas, a resident of Riverside County, was reported missing in April 2024. When police said they received a report that she had run away from home. The medical examiner said Rivas appeared to have been deceased for an extended period of time and noted a distinctive tattoo on her right index finger. Images show David had a similar tattoo on his finger. Representatives for the singer have not responded to our requests for comment. David had been scheduled to perform a show in Seattle Wednesday night before it was canceled.
So as we mentioned, David is scheduled to perform in San Francisco tomorrow night at the Warfield Theater on Market Street. We did reach out to the theater this morning to ask if the show is still happening. They have not commented on the investigation, and we never heard back. All right, a Whole Foods market in Cupertino is getting ready to reopen later this month after it was shut down for more than 5 months because of a rodent infestation. Santa Clara County inspectors found rodent droppings and cockroaches throughout the store on Stevens Creek Boulevard. So this video from April, it shows workers, they were actually throwing out massive tubs full of food. But health officials say they have found no new evidence of rodents in the store, but monitoring will continue through routine, unannounced inspections. It's set to reopen September 29th. So the loud racket of pickleball courts in Martinez could prompt the city council to shut them down for up to 5 days a week. All right, so what's going on? The courts are located right off of Center Avenue. That's across the street from Hidden Valley Park and Hidden Valley Elementary School. There are also homes on either side. So right now, the council is taking up a proposal that would close the courts every day except Wednesday and 6 hours on Sunday. The courts opened up in February and cost just under $1.5 million to build. Coming up, from high heat to possible storms to maybe another warm-up, Paul Hagan looks at the rest of this, well, we can call it confusing weather week. All right, so I'm just going to be straight up with this. What's going on?
So a couple days ago, we were saying, hey, it looks like a pretty good chance of like widespread rain.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, it had gone down to almost nothing. And we said, reality is probably somewhere in between.
Okay.
And it's somewhere in between. There are a few showers, even a couple thunder showers out there. They're not very numerous. Let's take a look at the big picture pattern here. The reason for the chance of showers and thunder showers that we continue to track. It's all of this moisture that we're picking up on the satellite view. All of the bright white and purple indicates abundant moisture in the atmosphere, primarily over the southern half of California. These are the remnants of Tropical Storm Mario, sending that atmospheric moisture across the state and feeding the chance of showers and thunder showers that we have been tracking throughout the day that have mostly avoided the Bay Area until about the last 90 minutes, maybe a couple of hours. This is the radar loop over the last 1 hour, and you can see the showers that we're tracking mainly over the North Bay. A little shower did trek right over downtown San Francisco about 30, 40 minutes ago. Did have one cloud to ground lightning strike in Napa County right around Lake Berryessa. It was accompanied by a fairly heavy brief downpour, but we like to see whenever the cloud to ground lightning strikes happen, There's rain along with them to squelch any potential fires that would be started. This is the kind of scattered activity that we expect as we head through tonight and into tomorrow. So let's take a look at Futurecast radar simulation, and you see that the showers are out there, but a lot of the bulk of the moisture is avoiding the Bay Area off to the east, a little bit sneaking up along the Diablo Range, and then eventually into the North Bay as we head through sunrise tomorrow morning. And then as we head through the rest of the day on Friday, the showers still possible, but they're going to be few and far between, and they become fewer and farther between as we head through the afternoon and into tomorrow evening. Total rainfall amounts are going to be meager, less than 1/10 of an inch for most of the Bay Area, and it's not a guarantee that you are going to pick up even a drop in your backyard. Again, that's the nature of these scattered showers. There are going to be a few spots that manage to hit the rainfall jackpot underneath some of those heavier downpours and maybe pick up a 1/4 inch of total rainfall, but that's going to be about it for this particular system. Right now, seeing a lot of clouds over San Francisco, and if nothing else, we cracked the heat wave that's been in place the past couple of days. Temperatures right now are in the 60s and 70s across the board after widespread inland 90s over the past couple of days. Nice to retreat to some cooler temperatures, even though it does feel a little bit sticky out there. That's the other consequence of that tropical moisture. The humidity is not anywhere close to what other parts of the country have to contend with throughout spring, summer, and early fall, but it's in the noticeable category, and it's going to stay there tomorrow and even to start the day Saturday before it drops back to a more comfortable range as we head into Saturday afternoon. So let's take a look at tomorrow's temperatures, which are still going to be on the cool side. We're going to see those readings reaching up to about what's normal for this time of year, if maybe a degree or two below average, low to mid 80s in the Santa Clara Valley and east of the Oakland Hills. And those will be the warm spots. 85 degrees for Fairfield, Antioch, and Brentwood. That's not that warm for the middle of September. 60s at the coast, mostly 70s around the Bay, and a mix of upper 70s and low 80s for the North Bay by tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures are going to warm up as we head through the weekend. Near normal on Saturday, slightly above average on Sunday, but not bad. And then a one-day heat wave on Monday pushes inland temperatures back into the 90s before another chance of showers and thunder showers heads our way Tuesday into Tuesday night of next week. Like this current system, a lot of questions about exactly how it's going to evolve, but it looks promising for the moment. And if nothing else, it'll crack that next heat wave and send temperatures back down to basically what's normal for the first days of autumn by the middle of next week. Even at the coast, you're going to see a little up and down pattern to those temperatures over the next 7 days.
All right, Paul, thank you. When we come back, a new practice facility in the works for the Bay Area's pro women's soccer club, and the players say it is long overdue. A new chapter kicks off for women's professional soccer. Bay FC and local leaders broke ground on the team's training facility on Treasure Island. This is San Francisco's first professional women's sports performance center. The 8-acre facility will feature a 20,000 square foot clubhouse and 3 practice fields. It was also specifically designed for women athletes. Bay FC captain Abby Dahlkemper spoke out about what this means to her.
For a while, women's sports and soccer teams were kind of put into men's facilities and just kind of adapted to that. I think it's just allows us to, again, just take care of business on the field and be treated the way we deserve.
The training facility is scheduled to open ahead of the team's 2027 season. CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you at 7 o'clock with local news.